Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to round 2 of the League That Means Nothing to Me. It continues to mean nothing, but maybe to some of these players it'll mean something. As always, I'm here. I am your voice of the league, Ian Holland, semi-competitive fab player, and all-around arse talker. Today we have a game between the original noob killer, Dorinthea, on the other side of the bracket, Dorinthea. So we've got a mirror match here going into round 2 between Gustavo Vasilotto and Zach Musson. So it's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, or it's going to be a grindy hellhole. I've seen this mirror go 10 minutes, I've seen this mirror go 55 minutes. And it all comes down to who has the cards. So with that out of the way, and without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to the gameplay.
The League That Means Nothing Season 3 is brought to you in part by Enter the Battlefield Gaming out of Ontario, Canada. They do all of our favourite games, including this one, Flesh and Blood. They do sealed, singles, and events, but they also do things like Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lorcana, One Piece, Sorcery, Warhammer, tabletop games, and all sorts of different supplies for your table. Make sure you go and check them out if you're local to Canada, or check out their website at enterthebattlefield.ca. Let's get on with the tournament.
So it looks like we have Zach going first here. Not always the most enviable position for Dorinthea, and we have a very different setup, but we have a glistening steel blade coming in first. So one player with tunic and Braveforge bracers and like very, very traditional Dorinthea. This one, very new school Dorinthea, coming in with Dawnblade, buffed by Iron Song of Determination. So dominate for 4 with Go Again. Very interesting start to this game. We've got a Sink Below coming in from Gustavo as a start. Bearing in mind, of course, if this Dawnblade hits it all thanks to Glistening Steel Blade, a card will be drawn. A counter will be put on the Dawnblade. Very surprised not to see any further actions taken by Zach, but it looks like we're just going to go to Arsenal. And that's some very powerful cards used up by Zach and no value gained out of it. Oh yes, Zach on Ironsong versus Valiant Dynamos and Grains of Blood Spill, Gustavo on the traditional warrior setup. Either player on Courage of Bladehold. Imagine we're both expecting a grindy matchup here because Courage is really good when you need those resources and you need them now. We're going to start with pitching an Ironsong Determination for Spoils of War and sending in the Dawnblade. So this is currently coming in with Go Again and +2, so it's coming in for 5 Go Again. On hit, Dawnblade can attack again, and Zach immediately just fronting 5 armor here, being like, "Nope, we're not doing it. You can you need a reaction here, and I'm not giving you reprise in order to force this one through." Now, Gustavo 2 cards in hand, one of which would have to pay for Dawnblade again or a reaction. And looks like we're syncing with the crown here, making sure to keep the Grains of Blood Spill as our 2-block. So that tells me from watching a lot of Josh Lau content that maybe we were a little tight on resources. And now we've got a Blade Flurry coming in, pushing this up to 7. So it gains Go Again. We get our first hit. And that means this is 7. 2 is going to leak. Dawnblade is going to be able to attack again. But now we know that this Dawnblade is just going to be for 5. We technically have some copper. It doesn't really matter. Now I imagine we're going to see a block here. No cards in hand, so a block is pretty free for Zach. And not having any counters is going to be super important. Oh, we're going. Zach Musson is going hard here. Does not give 2 shits about this armor. He just wants to get through this game, which is an interesting approach. I'm not sure if it's going to matter, but generally speaking, these tend to be quite grindy. Very surprised to see him going so quickly. like Gustavo gets to keep the extra armor for the next while, which could be a huge edge if this game goes long, especially with Tunic generating value over the course of the game. Now, obviously, Zac has Valiant Dynamos, which, if he can attack twice with this Dawnblade, generates its own amount of value. So we're going to pitch in blue for a Glistening Steel Blade, the second one. Pretty good, pretty good. And that makes sure the Dawnblade has go again. And then we're going to Dawnblade for 3 go again. On hit, get a +1 counter. Representing at least one, if not more, +1 counters. Like it could be up to 3 counters on this turn alone. With a card in hand, card in arsenal. So we're going to block 7. Gustavo obviously doing the math here on this Dawnblade. 7 would be an awful lot for Zac to be able to push over here. Because he would need to, yeah. Looks like we're just going to pass, IP ourselves a little bit, and move to the next turn. Gustavo keeping 2 cards in hand. Very, very calm. Pitching a Twinning Blade. Obviously, we've blocked with a Glint the Quicksilver, so maybe there is some other form of go again in hand. Looks like Gustavo may have missed his Tunic trigger. I wonder if we were going to pick that one up. Obviously, on hit, Gustavo has access to breaking his refraction bolters. It looks like he's choosing not to do that, just dealing the 3 points of damage. Obviously, Zac calling his bluff on that one. If you want to break those bolters, break them, baby. When they're gone, it's just one thing you never have to think about for the rest of the game, and it's a huge advantage playing into Dorinthea if you never have to think about refraction bolter. Now we're going to come in, Dawnblade for 5 go again with Spoils of War text, which technically has text. It's kind of irrelevant for the most part. Now let's see what Gustavo decides to do here. This is coming in for 5. Blocking with cards from hand obviously turns on reprise, so getting things like defense reaction Arsenal versus Dorinthea is so critical. And we've seen Gustavo already on defense reactions, just choosing to take 5. We're generating 2 copper, and if we're ever cracking that copper, you know we're in trouble. But it means Dorinthea is hit, so this Dawnblade can attack again. So we're coming in for a naked Dawnblade, which is 3. Most schools of thought say if you're blocking a naked Dawnblade, make sure you're over blocking it. It looks like we're going to Steelblade Shunt onto this one for 4 defense and 1 point of damage. And we're going to Iron Song response this. I do believe this should not push it. This should push it to 6, yeah. Taking the 1 here, or taking 2 points of damage here, getting our first Dawnblade counter, 2 copper, and removing the counter from Valiant Dynamo. Again, slight intellect penalty here. Didn't use all our cards, but we have our first Dawnblade counter of the game, and this is where it becomes a problem, because now Dawnblade on itself is a breakpoint. Because 4 goes over 3, and most cards in Warrior block for 3. Pitching an engagement for a Warrior's Valor, sending in a Dawnblade for 4, on hit, gains go again. Does not yet have go again, very importantly. So if there's a way for Zac to stuff this hit, be very interesting to see how this one goes. Nope, we're just saying, yeah, here, I'll take 4. And now we're going to send 3. Um, So let's see what Zach decides to do. Is he going to give up a counter or are we just going to race here? It is, in fact, giving up a counter kind of tells me that maybe Gustavo has an amount of attack reactions in hand with Reprise that he just didn't have access to using. Let's see what we get here from Zach now. Be very impressed to see what was so worth giving your opponent that first counter. Could be something like a Iron Song Determination plus Steel Blade Supremacy, which is just the nuts combo. But we have a Red Warrior's Valor, so this Dawnblade is going to be for 7 at least. On hit, go again. So we're really going to be threatening here. Now, obviously, Gustavo has his 4 points of armor as well. So we're coming in for 7. On hit, go again, 2 cards in hand. Neither player has managed to use their equipment abilities to any degree. Very surprised Gustavo didn't even activate Braveforge Bracers on the last turn. Go block with a route, and our Crown of Providence and our Braveforge Bracers. So we're getting our first blocks of armor with the Braveforge, and we're getting a bit of filtering with this Crown of Providence, getting an Arsenal out, which may or may not have been unstuck. But we're going to puncture that. Thank you for the armor block. That gives us piercing and +3. So we're getting, in fact, a +4 buff for this one resource, pushing this up to 11 over your 7. Let's see if Gustavo has the sink below to go with this. No, but I feel like we do have a Steel Blade Shunt. Yeah, a blue Steel Blade Shunt pushing this to 11 block, dealing 1 damage to Zach. And let's see if Zach has any further responses, because, you are still entitled to play reaction this step. Looks like he's thinking about it. Nope, moving to Arsenal, losing our counter. But a lot of cards expended by Gustavo, so I don't think his counter on Dawnblade is going to stick around. Yep, looks like we're just going to use our Tunic resource, send in the Dawnblade 4. I feel like this would be a pretty clean block here for Zach. It does appear like we're getting a Unity block here. Yes, so that's a block of 7. So block of 7. We're pitching and we're going to play a puncture, getting a +4 because of the Valiant Dynamos block. Ironically, if Zach had only blocked with the Chorus of Iron Song and Steel Blade Supremacy here, there would be no damage leaking through, which is crazy. Now we're going to pop Refraction Bolters to threaten the second counter. Use Braveforge Bracers and send in Dawnblade for 5. Let's see how Zach responds here. I feel like you have to block this one. You're losing out with your Dawnblade, your opponent's Dawnblade now having a counter. You can't let them have the second one because this is how it spirals out of control disastrously. So, yeah, looks like we've let Gustavo have this counter. I hope these 3 cards that we have are really good at pushing some damage now. Let's see what we've got here. We have a Carpet Steel into a Dawnblade, so we're sending in a nice casual 6 points of damage. 7 points of damage. In fact, looks like Gustavo just taking the 7. Moving to Arsenal, drawing up. Counter on Tunic. Now Zach has the armor advantage in this point in the game. And Dawnblade for 5. Knowing that Gustavo still has 3 cards in hand, we're kind of in an awkward spot here. At what point do you just drop the entire hand here and hope for the best? Obviously, it was 7 the last turn because I had missed the courage token that we got from our Chorus of Ironsong. So, giving a go again with Glint Quicksilver. Very important point here. If your opponent is glinting, make sure you say, yes, your glint resolved before you defense react, because otherwise they can argue that your reaction resolved before theirs and then reprise, blah, blah, blah. Don't recommend it. Bad vibes all around. Just don't shark your opponents, and it's the easy way to do it. Now we have 5 coming in here. Threatening a third counter, 2 cards in hand. Whee. I do not envy Zach in this position. This is bad. Zach blocking 3. I feel like in this situation here, if you're blocking, you should be blocking everything or not blocking. Have we got a defense reaction in Arsenal? Defense reaction in hand. So all we've done here is enable something like Iron Song response to completely negate our block, or let Gustavo just tick up, get another counter. Now the Dawnblade is for 6 and kind of in an unstoppable, unlosable position. So we're going to lead with Dawnblade for 3, pitching an Iron Song response. I think if you're Gustavo here, you're just no bloxing this. Doesn't matter. I'm at 26. I have 3 counters on my Dawnblade, and you're at 12. That is 2 hits. But I'm not a warrior player. You never know. Gustavo might be more patient than me. It'll be interesting to see how this one shakes out now. Just 1 card in hand for Zach. 2 cards in hand, sorry, and a card in Arsenal. Let's see how we decide to block here. Looks like we're going to pay to make a bigger token. But we have go again. Very, very awkward here. Very surprised Zach didn't block more. There was no plan to generate go again. So pitching a blue, playing a lead with speed, generating an agility with carry through to the next turn, and +3 to the next warrior attack this turn. So we know this Dawnblade is at least 6, and then we will play an Iron Song Determination, giving the weapon +1 and dominate until the end of turn. So this is going to be going in for 6, 7, 8, 9, dominate. So Zach is going to block 4 here, as dominate does not allow for much more. And now a Singing Steel Blade, giving it +1 to 10, allowing us to go and find any card in our deck. There's a reaction play on this chain link. And something like a route will just end the game. Or an overpower. Just immediately the game will be shut down. Instead, we're getting a glint Quicksilver. Maybe don't quite have the resources for the cards mentioned, but this could give Go Again plus draw us into another card. So we're going to glint, giving Go Again, drawing a card, and dealing 7 points of damage to Zach. This is brutal. Now let's see how we move ahead here. Are we just going to... Yeah, we're going to Brave Forge Bracers and Unsheath to give another +3. So this is going to be another 10 damage. 6, 9, 10. Oof. And no short order here, no messing around. In, out, surgical. Gustavo just kept racking up counters and takes it down. Move with another win. With a win under his belt in the league, that means nothing round 2. And Zach obviously dropping this round. Unfortunate. Really well played by Gustavo, just clearly knows his old school Dory. Zach's deck looked much better set up for being Dorinthea into other decks, but maybe not as much into the Warrior Mirror, where you really have to try and bog the game down and grind it out. For example, if you see Josh Lau and Pro Tour LA in the top 8 against Max Klein, both players playing to fatigue, just dragging it out, kicking and screaming, 2-hour Warrior Mirror. Gah. Not a fun watch. But what is a fun watch is the league that means absolutely nothing here on Go Again Gaming, and it is great to have you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, make sure you like the video. You make sure you comment down below. Tell us how much you like the video, how much you love Warrior Mirror on Go Again Gaming, and how much you love the league that means absolutely nothing 3, so that we can bring back a league that means nothing 4, and I can keep talking nonsense on the internet. After you've done that, please do subscribe. Helps out a lot. Keeps the lights on here at Go Again Gaming headquarters, and keeps me the voice of the league that means absolutely nothing. If you're looking to interact with me further, you can find me on social at either on Twitter at finals_spirit, or more likely on Blue Sky at finalspirit.bsky.social. I've been the voice of the league. This has been a Dorinthea Mirror on the league that means nothing, and we will see you in the next one.